besides everybody telling me laser camp?
I mean, something that is really good against heavies in general is that every heavy in this game has a very bad dash to shield. To my knowledge, I don't think there are any characters that vary from that. Like, every character has a different dash to shield, and heavies, if it hasn't changed, which last time I checked it hasn't, their dash to shield is frame 16.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So the space that they go and the distance that they have to travel first before they can shield is very large. So that's kind of the downside. When I'm saying heavies, I'm like Incineroar, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Ridley even. I'm not sure what Ridley's dash to shield is, but I know that the other heavies from Smash 4, their dash to shields are all really garbage.
Ah, okay.
And, you know, so the way that you kind of play around that, and that's why laser camping is really good against them. The downside to that is you are just doing tic-tac%, but the laser camping isn't necessarily... You do that for a reason, and that's to create the opening so that you can mix them or do whatever it is you need to do to get them in disadvantage. And when fighting them, you know, something that's important against characters like this is there are a couple of things. What does Bowser have that a lot of characters don't have?
An out of shield, up B.
Correct. So the thing with this is you have to play very safe in this space. Because I can up B out of shield, you know, I can side B out of shield if I want to, you know, catch you doing something goofy. Like, I have those options. But, like, you know, being locked down in shield as a heavy... As Bowser isn't the worst thing in the world, so when you're fighting him, it's best to always remind yourself that you need to be spacing away from him. Or literally, like, away from his shield, because, you know, I can jump and fair you, and, like, there's, like, these aerials, they auto-cancel.
Right.
Like Rising Fair auto cancels, Rising Back Air auto cancels. So like that's the thing. So the other thing with heavies is if they don't auto cancel, they have an astronomical large amount of lag.
Right.
Like that's so much lag. It's like 11 frames. And like same thing with this. Like
yeah.
So like that's the thing is if you can goad them into like swinging and whiffing in a space to where they're trying to hit you or like heavily hit you, that's a much better spot for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, that's kind of the thing. But, like, you know, if you see them, like, swinging up here, you're not going to get that punish. Actually, you might get that punish there, but...
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, that's the other thing. Like, it's... The important thing with them is they don't want to whiff, like, in your face. Because they're going to get punished for it.
Right.
And then, so the reason you want a laser camp is, like... Them being in the air is not the best place they want to be. Like Donkey Kong, it's a little different because he has kind of like a ridiculous back air. So if he's in the air, he's obviously going to be using that move. But Bowser's situation, he doesn't necessarily want to be in the air. Like if he's in the air, he's like trying to swat you out of the air. That's pretty much like his whole goal. So, you know, the reason you gun camp or laser camp is because you put him in the air. He either has to shield or you put him in the air. And like here, I'll show you. Look at his dash to shield compared to yours. Do your dash to shield. Like dash and then shield.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like it's much slower than yours, if you can tell.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way that they offset that, and that's why they do this dashback thing, is because they're not going as far, but it also lets them shield just a little sooner because they're not taking as much space. So like that's the thing. You know, Bowser in general, he's gonna try to shield, like especially on your landings. If you try to land on top of him, he's very much wanting to look for this. But, like, the most important thing you have to do when you're fighting heavies is not be afraid of fighting them, because what ends up happening is you get afraid because they don't die, and then they get rage, and then you know you take 4 or 5 hits. But their advantage state is like pretty not like I'm not gonna say bad because you will definitely die. But there is they kind of have to read just a little more than like other situations would allow.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're going to be playing a little more defensive. And, like, obviously, you know, there is a detriment to playing defensive against them the whole time, because that just makes it easier for you to get hit. But you definitely want to be mixing in and out of that range. And, like, Bowser's kind of a weird one, because he's really fast as shit on the ground. So that's kind of, like, the threat and the fear of, like, fighting Bowser.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of the thing with the heavies. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like fighting them with Wolf because the smaller the stage, the more annoying it felt.
Exactly.
And like, you know, because he kind of Bowser has like that. He has like that RPS in neutral where it's like if you shield, you know, you get side D'd, and then if you land on him, you get up D'd. And like that's why it's important to like play outside of the range here, like, you know, like outside of this range, because you have to be very comfortable around those options.
Yeah.
But okay, like that's kind of the rundown with heavies. Like the thing with Wolf in general is you have to play evasive the whole time. Not the whole time, but that should be like your main goal, is to get them to like commit really heavily to like trying to hit you, and then from there, you know, there are a couple of ways that you want to do this. So heavies in general, they suck in 2 places. Can you tell me where that is?
Let's see. In general, in the air, and probably in the corner. Oh, on
At the ledge. Look at look at my tech roll.
Yeah,
I go nowhere. My roll is so bad. I go nowhere. I literally go nowhere.
Yeah.
Like those options. That's why he kind of has to be a little aggressive out of shield and like do those kinds of things, because he doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like the important thing with like juggling Bowser in general is because, you know, this move right here, annoying, right?
Yeah.
So you should always be anticipating this. That's kind of like the thing with Bowser. Like, you can pressure this option, but the most important thing to do for yourself is if you're going to try to pressure him, don't do it from directly below him, because, you know, I can move left or right, and then once you see that, obviously just shield it, and, you know, punish, like. But the biggest thing with fighting heavies is to remind yourself that you have to stay composed. That's really what it is. Fighting heavies is such a mental game, because they hit hard. They're, you know, for some reason they're kind of fast in this game outside of Incineroar, and they have like some unique aspect to them that is obnoxious and annoying to fight that a lot of characters in disadvantage don't have. And so you have to like think about those options, and each heavy kind of has a different one. It's like D-Cake obviously has armor when he lands, and he can down DB reverse with no lag and like all of that stuff. And then Incineroar has revenge, which is, you know, that's another layer of mental. And then Bowser's, you know, down air and like that kind of thing. But they're all like committal, minus Donkey Kong for some reason. So you know, like that's kind of the gist of like that. But your priorities should be, when I hit you, I either, you know, get my 60% combo because you're heavy as shit, so you're combo food, and then after that, I reset to either juggle you, or I put you at the ledge and keep you there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because what happens is, if you give Bowser space, I'm doing this the whole time. I'm not afraid of you. I have all of this space to cover. Sorry. I have all of this space to cover. Like, you know, like the thing with these moves is like they have a lot of lag.
Yeah.
Like that's so much lag. Like, you have all the time in the world. And like that's, you know, it's about playing just outside the burst range for them, and that you have to be comfortable there. And if you're not comfortable there, it's going to be infinitely harder to deal with.
Yeah, and I think one thing that also just like kind of noticed is whenever I'm thinking of punishing someone, I'm waiting for the animation to end rather than when I know the hitboxes are gone.
You need to do when the hitboxes are gone, because if you wait for the animation to end, that is too late.
Yeah.
And like Donkey Kong, or not Donkey Kong's, I just sorry. So if you're waiting to punish them when the animation is over, you will always be late. That's why you play outside of that range, like here, is because you'll have the best opportunity to punish once you see that it's over. And like obviously characters like Mithra and that you're gonna have a much harder time to do that. And that's where waiting to see what they do after comes into play. But like with heavies, if you're right outside the range, you can burst option me like easily.
Yeah.
But, all right, let's play. Let's see how you feel. Yep. Die. Unfortunately, buffered, I know.
It's alright.
Something else to keep in mind when you're playing against heavies in general is if you no longer have the opportunity to get a combo or like advantage off the throw and you're at the ledge, just throw me off stage.
Yeah.
Like, the further away you can hit Bowser off stage, the better that is for you, because you can send him at an angle to where I have to recover, and my 2-frame animation kind of sucks. So you can down smash me.
Alright.
Like, that's the thing with heavies. You can down smash most of them.
Yeah.
You're a little too close. You need to scoot back.
Yeah.
Something I need you to do for me right now. It's gonna sound really dumb. When you hit me, think less.
Okay.
Please.
No, that makes sense.
Stop thinking. You know what you need to do. You don't need to think about it anymore. There is no reason why I'm at 20% and you're thinking about what you need to do to hit me. There is no reason to do that. You know you can fair me, double fair grab. You need to very much stop thinking about that at those low percent. Where was the back air?
I was thinking about it. I didn't know if you would die from it. So
Doesn't matter. No. Let's stop for a minute. It's not about killing me. If it puts me off stage, put me off stage.
I overthought when I should just be hitting you.
Like, right now, there's no reason to be like, oh, it's not gonna kill. I won't do it. Do it anyway. You wanna know why? Because I go out here, look what I have to do. Look at that. How do I die? You F2 frame me with F tilt, you nair me, you back air me off stage. Like, it's not about the reward that you're getting off the singular hit, it's about what the opportunities that are being created after the fact. If you know, this is why I'm telling you to stop thinking about hitting me so much, is because you hit me, and now I either double jump or I air dodge or I'm off stage. What opportunities are being created out of that? If you're only looking for the one opportunity to kill me, you're never going to get anything meaningful off of it, because I will just avoid dying.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to threaten me with kill moves, otherwise I'm never afraid.
Yes. Look at that. It would have been nice if you did it because you would have died.
Oh, wow! Gee, look what happened!
Hey, you did recover at a bad angle.
I don't have many other angles to go. I either go low and get 2 frames, or I go high and get 2 frames.
Okay.
You got afraid. You got afraid.
Yeah. When you're in the position, you gotta have I fucked it up.
Yeah, but once you fuck up that situation, you can't be upset and worried about that you fucked it up. You look for the next thing. You gotta go for the next thing.
Yeah.
Nah, do you see? Think about it. Stop thinking about it. Just do it.
Yeah, I really do just need to do it. Like, when I get the hit, I'm like, I know these combos. These are fine.
Yeah, like, there's no reason for you to stop. You're like, oh, nah. There's no reason to mix up until you are much later in a set. That foot's totally unfortunate.
Right? Nice dash back, hold on. Wow. I understand. Yeah. Don't jump to that.
Yeah. So I just started throwing smash attacks out because you kept entering my space, and you got a whole blaster that just does that percent. When you are at a point where you just need to get me in a position or a percentage where I need to die or something, that's when the blaster is really handy, because you just do some passive percent, you get in a window that I need to die at, and then, you know, like, it's a good pace stopper. That's what you want to use it for. If somebody's in your space, you want to create that space and then shoot it, and like alternate between like short hop shooting it or like shooting it on the ground, because if I'm always jumping over it, I can't jump over it if you shoot it in the air.
Right. Oh, okay.
Oh, that kills. Okay.
Yep. Jesus, you right.
Yep. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
I do sometimes.
You need to do it more.
I just want to scrap with people so much.
Yeah, you have to be okay with not trying to scrap the whole time.
Yeah.
Because what ends up happening is if the person you're fighting has more knowledge, is more comfortable being in that space, you're not going to be able to really contest that. Like, you know, something you don't really do is when you're pressuring my area shields, you're always landing into me or like on top of me. You know, that was like the first thing we had talked about was don't land on top of me. I'm Bowser.
Yeah. In that regard, I kept doing it. I was like, they're not pressing shield, like for the landing. So I was like, all right, maybe I can keep doing it.
Empty landing against Bowser is pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Like, against heavies in general, because they're gonna want to try to do something out of shield. Like if they're sitting in shield waiting for you, that's where you mix up empty landing.
All right, yeah. I gave up all that corner stuff.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you.
And you just start dashing everything off of that. I am too high for F tilt.
Yeah.
No, up smash out of
I know.
Up smash out of shield.
As soon as it happened, I was like, ah. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Something else to consider is if I'm not going for grabs, there's no reason for you to not just like shield some of these approaches. Like, cause you keep wanting to like jump out really early, and I know it's kind of scary because you don't want to get cargo thrown, but if I'm not grabbing you, you don't have to like worry about it until I start grabbing you. Like, that's the mix.
Right.
You know, I think you very much should opt to like command your space like around you a little better with like, if I'm entering your space, that nair is such a wall.
Right.
And I'm typically the one making the first approach option, so
Yeah.
at that point you need to see how I'm approaching and what beats that.
Okay. Okay. Well, it's supposed to be an F smash.
I figured.
They're so ugly. But I understand. Yeah.
You need to be going for up air. Stop going for fair.
Yeah.
I think it's either that or you're not doing it fast enough.
Yeah, okay, so for that one specifically, it was to I was doing the double jump because I was greedy and it was gonna be double jump fair, up air, up air. If you did an air dodge in time for the first fair. So you have to do fair there, but yeah.
So
It should be up there.
yes, so because I'm heavy and because I cannot land very well, go for like I think something to consider is when you're doing these throws, like after you get your hit, you need to pay attention to what I'm doing afterward because you'll like do it and then the only time I really feel like you're paying attention to what I'm doing is like right here. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening a lot of times is I'm purposefully throwing out the aggressive option because I know you're going to overextend.
Yeah.
And so after you get that up air, that fair, you need to fast fall immediately so that you can continue to juggle me.
Okay.
Like, it's about juggling. It's not about getting the most reward out of that singular hit because that forward air, that up air, do up throw. Hit, do your combo. Oh, do it again. Do your combo. Okay, now what? I don't want to be there, so my options are to land aggressively, air dodge, or jump away. And then if I jump away, now guess what? I'm now over here. You get to pressure me. You get to have the time of your life. You get to nair the ledge the whole time.
Right.
You know, that's. I would think less in terms of immediate reward, and think more in terms of setting up reward for you down the road, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, let's go. You had to punish. Dash back. What you got? We don't need to be afraid of me in the corner. Top smash. Fine, reset.
Jesus.
Smash. I don't think you can actually dash attack, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And that's why you up there, because if I DI in, you don't get the forward air. Better match out of that grass.
Yeah. Thank God for shot slot. Okay. You're gonna get shot. You didn't DI right one time.
Weaklings, a lot of them.
I think I was looking and thinking, ruminating. I think something else to consider is push. You want to say you push advantage in a smart way, but what does that mean?
Like usually it's pushing advantage in a way to where, like, it's usually things that are guaranteed, or it's such a, like, the position you're in, and for where I'm getting my follow-up, you really can't get out of it without, like, some super obscure option that I guess will put you in an even worse position.
So,
like, say,
Go ahead.
Like, last game, I did a fair nair into fair, trying to go fair bear. So, like, in that position, doing the fair to nair is a much safer spot than, like, say, a fair in some regard.
Mm-hmm.
Because the nair, like, pushes you horizontally to the corner while also covering, like, platforms enough to where I can, like, watch the positioning, especially with the auto cancel, and then catching the fair afterwards. There's not really much you can do to challenge the second fair, because if you do...
Who says I have to challenge it?
Oh. Well, like, in that position, if you do, like, air dodge, that's, like, worse.
I mean, I can just get hit by the fair. I don't care.
Yeah. And then
like,
the back air is the combo afterwards.
So, I think it's important to recognize that what you're trying to accomplish completely ignores the other part of the game, which is the other player.
Yeah.
You said that you want to pretty much stop me from having options, period, and that will never happen. The only way that happens is if you burn these resources, but even then, I still have options because I have drift, I have ledge, and I can take the small hit to get my options back.
Right.
Like, you're trying to create a scenario that can't happen by covering everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's less about pushing advantage in a smart where, like, you want to push advantage to where they don't get to play, and that's very different. But the way that you want to push advantage is by making me do things that I have to do, like be aggressive, or burn the air dodge, or jump. That you want to push advantage in that way. Your goal should be, how do I get them to use those resources without putting myself in risk of being reversaled or having them overextend?
Right.
Because, like, yeah, you can hit me with the nair, but what if I DI that nair in a way that you weren't expecting? Now what?
I reset neutral.
Okay. So, like, now you don't have to reset neutral. You just have to understand that, like, the scenario you were trying to create, there are parts of it that you're missing because there are gaps in between.
Yeah. When I say I reset neutral, that's usually just what happens. If I don't know what's about to happen, I'm just like, alright, I'll reset. Let's try this again.
I mean, but why would you reset if I'm up here and I got hit by something and I have to tech, or I land a land? Like, you don't need to reset neutral. You need to hold your position and see what I do.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens a lot. You'll hit me, and you immediately dash away. And it's like, why are you dashing away for? What are you afraid of? I can't shield in the air. Are you afraid of getting reversal? If you're that afraid, take the small punish and just shoot me with a laser.
Yeah.
Like, and when you hit me and carrying your advantage, in no way, shape, or form should you be dashing back unless you know that I'm going to land on top of you.
Yeah.
But how do you get me to land on top of you? Burn my resources, put me in an uncomfortable position, and Wolf has a really easy time doing all that.
Yeah.
But if I'm right here, the only reason you should be dashing back is if you know I am going to overextend to take your space.
Right.
Because at that point, you know, I don't want to be here. I kind of have to do like something goofy to get out of the situation. With what role am I getting out of the corner? Hello?
Right.
Like, and that's something in mind that you have to keep in mind with heavies is like, if you trade with them, okay, cool. They're still in the air with no resource.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes pushing advantage isn't about I'm not gonna say there's a smart or a dumb way, but I think you're trying to be too formulaic with it.
Yeah.
And that's really hard to do when there are two people in this game.
Yeah.
Because, you know, something that I notice a lot with your advantage is you wait for me to do this. You want me to do this. You want me to air dodge down. But anytime I do something else, you're not necessarily ready for it. Or if I do nothing, you're not ready for it. Because
Not at all.
that's where the positional pressure comes in. You know, if you don't want me to go somewhere, put a hitbox there. If you don't want me to try to reversal out of a situation, go right underneath me and up tilt the space that I'm entering. It's about coverage. That's where coverage is. That's what coverage really is. It's not, oh, you know, I don't want you to be there. It's, I want to stop you from being there with the option that you're trying to do.
Right.
Like, that's the whole point of coverage, is putting me in a space where you want me to be. And then if I happen to do something, then I get hit by it, cool. If I don't get hit by it, well, you're not in any risk of doing anything. So, like, that's what it's about. And, like, you have to stop, like, waiting for the one option, because I never do it, you're never carrying that advantage.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll play this last minute out.
That's a lot of pressure.
In that first sequence on that stock, do you see how I up tilted you twice and then up aired the platform so you wouldn't go there?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
If you land aggressively, you get hit. If you air dodge, you get hit. If you jump away, you're safe, but I land before you, so I'm still in advantage.
Yeah.
That's your goal. That's how you want to treat those situations in advantage. Not, I want to hit you, keep being up there. It's, okay, you're going to try to go to this platform, or I don't want you to go to this platform. I'm going to keep hitting you until you jump away.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
Oops. I know that's up the angle you wanted.
All right. Yes. I was thinking, I was hoping I was gonna mess out more.
Donkey Kong wins! Ready?
remember, if you ever need a break from the pressure, we have ways to get out. You have a reset neutral button called "Get the fuck away from me with this blaster."
That was so cool. Yeah. Yeah.
Donkey Kong wins.
You didn't want to be there.
Yeah, because I was thinking, I was like, I'm seeing the short hop, and then like it never occurred to me that you just like do the full hop mix up. Because I like did the roll behind, like this is gonna roll behind. So I'm like, all right, let's do the cool. We'll schmixy schmucks.
in those last hit scenarios like that, you have to think about what you die to, and
Yeah.
will you die if you get grabbed here? I mean, yeah, it's DK, but
Yeah, yeah.
like, you know, you would rather die that way or another way. I guess that's kind of like what it comes down to in that corner. It's like you have to particularly avoid the kill options there.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you don't take DK to the stage.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So the reason that works is because I notice the double jump when I'm running, and then at that point I go, I don't have to think about this anymore. I'm gonna put something there. If you run into it, you run into it. Yeah, you run into it, you run into it. If you don't, you're at ledge. I don't care. Like, there was no risk.
Absolutely. As soon as the pod, I was like,
All right, last one.
all right.
I think the important thing for you is just keep reminding yourself to keep knocking back that overthinking.
Yeah.
Like, if you see it, do it. Literally, I'm not kidding. If you see it, do it. Your eyes are your best resource, and your eyes are your best resource. So. They made it hit out there like that is beyond me. Oh.
Yeah. Oh my god, a second?
I
That was
tried to help
untackable.
you. I tried to, it was not untackable. I tried to help you.
I saw red sparks. Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Your
I
mix-up
think.
game is so good.
What'd you say?
Your mix-up game is so good.
It's all. Yeah, I think it is.
What? In regards to like, yeah, just playing that game, it's like you were able to like just pressure, like especially with the dash attack, the double dash attack, and even if like you would hit those two, you would cover generally the same space while also adding the additional layer of like the short hop by doing the nair.
Yep.
And it was just I was like, this is so good.
Well, yeah, because
I just really appreciated it.
yeah, you know, You're capable of doing that. You have to just ease yourself into like thinking of that stuff. It's like I talk about doing what your opponent will let you do, which is why I like put hitboxes there. Is because like not that, you know, the risk reward of me throwing it out there is like, okay, we trade, or I get fared and then he gets advantage, and then like it's okay. I am okay with getting that hit because I took that risk.
Right.
And I talk a lot about, you know, doing what your opponent lets you do, or what they will let you do, because the first layer of being able to get to a point where you can do what you want to do is understanding what they're letting you do, and then doing what you want to do starts. That's where the mix-up starts. At that point, it's like, well, I'm going to do that now because I want to.
Right.
And once you understand that, like, okay, my opponent XYZ, then you can start doing, well, I want to do ABC, because you kind of get a feel of, like, these cover the same kinds of options, but now the reward becomes better.
Right.
And the only thing we didn't touch up on spot dodge habits and stuff is, like, I will always advocate that if you are unsure of when to punish something, don't try to punish it unless you have with confidence that you know it's going to happen, because, like, this doesn't mean play scared. This just means if there's a better opportunity for you to find something else, or if you can recreate that situation again, then you want to punish it. But when you're just noticing something the first time, it's not like, oh, I missed that punish. It's like, you didn't expect it. How can you miss a punish you weren't expecting?
Right.
So with that, you know, it's just understanding why people spot dodge. A spot dodge is inherently an aggressive option. So if your opponent is playing aggressive, there are probably chances they're going to spot dodge attack because they want to reversal you. They're not doing it to avoid you or be defensive. They're doing it to counterattack you. So
I need to remember that.
I mean, there are people who will do it to spot dodge, but a lot of people very much do it because they just want to counterattack you, and it's the fastest option.
Yeah, like that makes perfect sense, because like when I'm thinking about like usually where do I see spot dodges, it's usually aggressive players. But yeah, that was nice.
I only do it because I'm not trying to get grabbed.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so
I like grabbing.
Yeah, and at that point, the reason you go, well, if they spot dodge when I try to grab, I'm gonna do the same way I approach, and then just like wait.
Yeah.
Because it's not that I'm reacting to the move; I'm reacting to your movement.
Right.
So that's the best way to go about that, is thinking about it as like they're trying to counter attack you, which means they're going to inherently be aggressive.
Yes.
A lot of people, anyway. But we didn't really talk about Ike. We didn't really get there. That's okay.
We don't. That's fine. I got plans and I got avenues. I might low-key hit up a Raven King session because he's got that little Ike pack, but that'll be down the line.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that like this session in particular is like really opened my eyes to, and so I can focus on that